Hello and welcome to chapter 12. The name of this chapter is resume writing. According to me, this chapter is of utmost importance in your writing skills part of the CA Foundation paper. It carries at least around 8 to 10 marks of questions which come repeatedly from this chapter. So it is advisable that you study this chapter in depth. The questions are very easy, the concept is very easy. So it is a very scoring topic. And from your professional life's point of view also, this is a very important topic, as your resume is going to be your first point of contact with your prospective employer. It is going to introduce you to that person without you having met that person in reality or in person, face to face. So therefore, writing a good and effective resume is of utmost importance if you want to get into that dream job or your dream firm, even for your articleship purpose. So let us see what are the contents of this video. We will do introduction. We will first understand what is a resume. Then we will see what is a cover letter. These are two different concepts and both of them are related to each other. So it is better that we first understand these individually. Then we will see what are the types of resumes, what are the ways in which you can write the same information, and when to use what type of a resume is also something that I will be telling you. Then what are the different points to be remembered while writing a resume, and what are the contents of a cover letter. So let us begin. A resume is a document that introduces you, that is the applicant, to your prospective employer or trainer. It tells them who you are, what you have done, and why they should hire you. There is no need for a trainer or an employer to know absolutely all there is to know about you. So basically, from this definition, you can say we understand that it is a document. First of all, it is going to be a document. It is going to be information about you, about how you have, what all you have studied, how many marks you have scored, where all you have worked previously, at what positions, and for how long. This is all the information that you will be giving through the medium of your resume. But there is no need to know everything about you. Everything, matlab, you don't have to tell them about your hobbies, your interests, or any other information which is not related to the job or to the um articleship that you're looking for. So basically, it is going to show your personality without you having actually met that person. How does it portray your personality? Through the choice of words that you're using. It will show your communication skills, your modesty in the way you portray the facts that you are writing on your resume is also a very important aspect. So it is going to give a quick peek into your character, this resume. Therefore, writing it effectively is very important. Now, let us see what is a cover letter. A cover letter is a letter that accompanies the resume and reflects your knowledge of the employer or trainer. Its purpose is to introduce you to an organization, convey your interest in the company or a specific vacancy, and draw attention to your resume. So basically, a cover letter is an additional document that is going to be along with your resume. Okay, it is an extra document, it is an extra letter that you will be sending along with your resume to the prospective employer. And why is this letter also important? Because along with your educational qualifications, it is also going to show why you're interested in that specific company or in the specific vacancy that they are offering or they want to hire. And it will highlight the important aspects of your resume. So it is going to be, this letter is going to be in a letter form, whereas a resume will be in a proper resume format. There are various ways in which you can write the same information, and we are going to see each of those in depth later on. So basically, this letter is going to emphasize on your interest. Why do you want to join that specific company, or why do you want to get into that specific vacancy? Okay, it is going to shed light on your qualifications and convince them as to why you are the best suited person for that particular job or particular company. You may also portray all the information that you have about that company through the history of that company, or through the if they are looking to solve a specific problem, or they if the company is having a specific issue which needs to be handled, and if you can provide your expertise in that particular field, you can highlight these points through the use of a cover letter. Now, we will see the types of resumes. Now, the first type is a chronological resume. Now, a chronology means what? To arrange facts in a particular sequence. Now, in this type of a resume, what happens is you are supposed to arrange the information, arrange your job experiences in the descending order. Descending order meaning whatever is your latest job experience, that will be first, followed by all the others. For example, after having passed your CA foundation, if you are applying for articleship in a firm, your chronological order of the resume would be CA foundation marks, then your 12th standard marks, and then your 10th standard marks. So you will go from latest to oldest. That is how a chronological resume is supposed to be written. Now, why is it important? Because as an employer, I am more interested in what you have done in the recent past rather than your past. I want to know what you have done recently before you join my company or my organization, and how much experience you have put together, everything together, how much experience you have, and also what did you do just before you want to join my organization, and what is your skill set. So let us see what is written on the slide. The chronological resume format is the most commonly used. It lists your most recent work or education history in reverse chronological order. This type of resume places more emphasis on your job titles and your employment history over your skills. So basically, when you use this sort of a resume format, what is happening is your job titles or your employment history is taking more importance, or it is being highlighted more rather than whatever are your educational qualifications. Because when you work, your work experience will be latest, upar, and whatever work you have done, it will be arranged, like whatever studies you have done, that will be arranged at the later part of the resume. So your experience is being highlighted more over your actual qualification. Now, the advantages of this kind of a resume, these are not there on the slide, so if you want, you can note them down. Is that first of all, it will clearly show what positions you have held and for how long you have held them. And usually recruiters are more interested with chronological resumes because they get to know your recent past quickly. And then a chronological resume will give you an advantage if you have worked with well-known companies in the recent past. Then it will give you an advantage over other resumes. What are the disadvantages? Now let us see at some disadvantages. This resume format will obviously portray if there are any big gaps in your work life. It will be highlighted very quickly. The reason being, because recent past you will write first, right? So if you have not worked for a long time, it will be clearly evident through this format. Especially for women, if you have not worked after marriage, or if you have taken a little bit break from after having kids, this type of format is going to show that very properly, evidently, and clearly. And if you're a student who's just starting your career, then also this is not the most appropriate format for you to write, because it will immediately highlight your lack of experience, right? So this is a major drawback of this chronological resume. Now, let us quickly revise what we learned in this. First of all, we learned that the facts will be arranged from latest to oldest. This is the first point that you need to remember. Second is that it will prioritize, it will give more importance to your job titles that you have worked at, or your work experience, or rather than your skills. Advantages: firstly, it will highlight whatever job experience you have and how long you have worked at one place. Secondly, it is a good thing if you have worked at well known companies, it will be highlighted through this resume. If you're looking out for senior positions, this is a very very good type of a resume. If you have worked for a really long time and you want to be hired at a senior position, chronological resume is one of the best ways in which you can write your resume. Now let us look at the disadvantages. First of all, if you have any gaps, it will be showing evidently. If you have any work life may major gaps, very very evidently it will show clearly. Secondly, if you are a student who's just starting out with the career, this is not the most appropriate format that you should be using. And the third one, if you have lack of experience or if you are changing your field, then also this is not the most appropriate format. Okay, now let us see what is the next one. The next one is a functional resume. Now functional means what? Something that works or is actually knowledge, right? Functional knowledge of what you have. So a functional resume will place more important to your education rather than your job titles. They will take secondary importance, exactly opposite of what is happening in the chronological resume. It will also show gaps in career, same to chronological resume. Let us see what is written on the slide. The functional or skill based resume places more importance on your skills and accomplishments. Job titles and where you have worked previously take on secondary importance. These resumes showcase your skills and experiences and are more suited for people who have gaps in their career. So, if you have a long gap in your career or if you have any sort of a break in your career, this is the most appropriate sort of a resume for you to go for rather than a chronological resume. Then, functional resumes are generally written for a very very specific purpose and they will place more emphasis on capabilities and prior accomplishments over typical chronological formats. If you are looking to transition or if you are wanting to change your career path, this is a very very good way to write your resume in. Let us look at some advantages. Again, not on the slide, so if you want to note down, you can note down. A functional resume can increase your chances of getting an interview even if you don't have the exact work experience required for the position by pairing your qualifications to the job posting. See, many times what happens, you study something else but you get initially first job that you get may not be exactly related to what you have studied. But after a few years of time or a few for some period of time, if you want to go back to doing a job in what you have actually studied, then it becomes a problem because you don't have work experience in the field that you have studied. So this resume is a good way if you want to change your career path. Then functional resumes feature job titles and company names but don't offer detailed timelines. These hide work gaps for those who have changed jobs frequently or are re-entering the workforce. So if you have gaps, this is a good way of writing a resume. Now let us look at some disadvantages. First of all, a functional resume does not clearly showcase career growth or development in past jobs. The reason being, you are not writing exact timeline, right? For how long you've worked at one place, that will not be portrayed in a functional resume. So this is one of the big drawbacks of functional resume. This will not work in traditional fields like law or finance because finance may you need to be on the go all the time. You need to be with the market trends, with the developments that are happening in the economy, in the budget and all these things. So if you have any sort of a gap in your career, it will not be easily portrayed, and therefore people who are looking for jobs in finance usually require a resume in chronological format. So this functional resume format will not work at that point of time. Mm, that is about functional resume. So let us quickly revise. First of all, functional resumes will give more importance to your qualifications rather than your job titles. Then if you have any gaps in your career, this is a good way because then you will be not writing exact dates for how long you worked where, so it hides those gaps, so it is good. And advantages being that it is perfect if you want to change your career first of all, or if you have gaps in your career. And also you will have better chances of getting an interview if you can pair your qualifications with whatever the job is that you're looking for. Disadvantages being, first of all, not suited for traditional fields like law or finance. Secondly, it does not clearly showcase your career growth or development because you're not writing timelines. That's about the functional resume. Now let us see the last one. The name of this is combination resume. From the name itself, you can make out that it is a combination of both chronological and functional resumes. So let us see what is on the slide. A mix of the chronological and functional formats is known as the combination resume. They consist of a sequential list of a person's employment and educational history. So basically, you will be writing both timelines also and where you worked, that also. So here, both the things are being given equal importance. A combination resume begins with the functional format and finishes with information of employment history, which provides details of the organizations one has worked for with dates. So it is beginning with functional format, meaning that you will begin with whatever you have studied first, and then you will go on to give detailed information about where all you have worked. So both the things are being covered in this sort of a resume. A combination resume uses both work history and skills to capture the employer's attention. So if you want to get a person's attention, it is better to write in a combination resume sort of a format. A combination resume is significant for people who have strong accomplishments. If you are very very good as a student, and if you have done well throughout your educational history, it is a very good way of grabbing that attention, writing in a combination format. These are the advantages that I am telling you. Then the second advantage would be it is suitable for job seekers who want to change careers and have worked for well-known companies. So that way also you can get attention. And when a candidate has worked for the same employer or held the same position for a long time, the combination format will highlight the candidate's expertise and achievements. So if you have worked at one place for a really long time, this will highlight your expertise in that particular area or particular field. Now let us look at some disadvantages. Combination resumes will become longer because you are combining both of these formats, and there may be repetition also. Career hopping, job hopping, employment gaps are noticeable in the work history section. So if you have gaps, it is going to be obviously shown in the resumes. Now I have one slide wherein I have sort of made a gist of all the three formats. So if you want, you can take a screenshot, take a photo, or note it down. I'll just wait here for 1 second for you to get the gist of it. So basically in chronological resume, you're highlighting experience and achievements, whereas in a functional resume, you're highlighting your skills. And in a combination resume, you are highlighting both the things. Chronological resume is very very easy to scan. Quickly you will get information. Functional resume is good for creative people and creative people with portfolios. For example, marketing or in even designing and all these people, functional resumes are good. Combination resume masks gaps in employment. Then cons are what? Requires consistent formatting. Chronological resume, you will have to keep on updating it again and again, and it will expose gaps in employment. But functional resume, difficult to scan because too much information is there to read. So it is difficult to scan. Quickly you cannot go through. You have to sit patiently and uh, read through it. Then conceals your experience because you're not putting a timeline to your work experience, so it will hide that. And combination resume is only for highly specialized people, and both the places, that is the most important drawback of this sort of a resume. Let us proceed. Now, what is the information required in a resume? First of all, contact information. Contact information should include your mobile number, email address, postal address, and also landline number if you have any. Okay. Career profile. Career profile means what have you studied so far. From all the significant exams in your life, you must write all of those significant exams. Significant in India meaning 10th standard, 12th standard, then each year of graduation, if you've done masters, that any further courses, if you have done educational courses, if you have done those, you need to mention. Work experience meaning where all you have worked, at what position, for how long, all that you would be writing. If you got any promotion during that work experience or the job profile, that you need to mention. Education skills means what all you can do other than your bookish knowledge. Education skills means whether you are good at communication, whether you're good at drawing, painting, all of these things. Educational skills. Some people are good at I don't know, writing, or some people can debate really well. All these are your educational skills that you need to mention. Or if you have held any position, for example, if you were a general secretary, all these things you need to mention. Then let us see points to remember. What are the points to remember for your resume? First of all, keep the format simple and readable. Very, very important. I have seen so many resumes in my life, and people just make one big khichdi out of this information that they have. So, ideally, if you are my students, I give you a format for writing a proper resume. But even for people who are not my students and who are watching this on YouTube, you, if you just Google, you will get really good formats on Google. So you, whatever format you find easy and good to read, just take it, edit it, and put in your information. It should be simple to read and not straining your eyes. Try to make it as professional as possible, and make, write it in concise, use good English. Okay, it should be readable. Restrict your resume to minimum number of pages. Yes, very, very important. Write only the things that are important. Don't write points which are not important. Don't write you were a member of some hundreds of clubs in college or school. Yes, if you've done significant work, please include that. But if you were just a member and the clubs were there, at the professional level, it should not be a part of your resume. Clearly state your objective. Do not use a broad objective statement. Usually, even in your module, you have some formats which you have to go through, and you have to, there are some practice sums also given in that. You need to write at least 10 resumes in each of the formats for it to become crystal clear in your mind, and you definitely get a question on either of these formats in your exam. Which one is, nobody knows, but you will get at least one format to write in the exam. So please master this. Clearly state your objective. What is the objective behind you joining my organization? What do you want to do after you join my organization? See, it is a two-way process. The organization should also benefit, and you as an individual should also benefit by joining my organization or my company. So, why you want to join? You need to state your objective in clear and simple words. Don't use a broad objective. Broad means general statement nahi hona chahiye. It should be very, very specific. Provide correct information. Avoid exaggerations and untruths, as the employers or trainers may verify what is written in the resume. Very, very important. Do not write false information, and employers do call your previous employers or your even educational institutions to verify the facts that are written in the resume. So if you're lying on your resume, it creates a very bad impression if they verify and find out that you have lied. So always better to write whatever is honest and truthful. And if there are any facts that need to be hidden, do it in a clever manner. For example, if you have not gotten along well with your previous employer, then you need to simply try to hide it in a proper way rather than mentioning it in the resume. Then Organize the information in the manner that flows logically, either from academics to job experience for resume writing. So write the information correctly. There should be a proper order to the information that you're writing. It should be arranged in a logical sequence. Either start from academics to job experience or from job experience to academics. It should not be mixed and combined. Tone should be neutral. No bias towards any community or religion. Yes, important. We live in a multi-religion country, rather, not state, but multi-religion uh, country. So we need to be neutral and not emphasize or not even say bad things about any particular religion. Ensure there are no grammatical errors. Very, very important. Grammatical errors in a resume are like really bad. It feels really sad to see people not even paying attention to details. If you make grammatical errors, it shows in your resume that you're not your personality, you don't pay attention to details. So small grammatical errors, if there are any, please try and read your resume over and over again before you send it out. Very, very important. Highlight your achievements instead of responsibilities. So whatever you have achieved in your past experience or even in your educational career, you must highlight it instead of your responsibilities. Unless asked for, do not mention the expected salary in the resume. If you are not being asked in the resume, don't write how much you expect to be paid for the job that you are looking for. Some companies will ask you to mention how much pay are you expecting, and most companies will not ask you. They will only pay you whatever they have already decided. So if that is the case, then please don't write it in the resume, because if your expectation is more than what they can offer, they may not even call you back or they may not even call you for the interview. That's why don't write it. And sometimes the experience that you get from working at a certain place is much more than the monetary benefit that you're deriving out of it. So better to not write the expected salary. Now, cover letter. We saw that the cover letter is a letter which is accompanying your resume. It is trying to convince the person as to why you are the most appropriate and accurate person that they should be hiring. So, in that letter, you would be writing about your skills, about how interested you are in that particular area or field of work, past experience if you have anyhow, educational achievements or professional achievements that you can share and highlight that are relating to that job profile is what all you will be writing in a cover letter. So let us see what are the points that you need to mention in the cover letter. First of all, use the correct format. The format of a formal letter. The correct format would be the format of a proper formal letter. Now we have done videos on formal writing and formal communication. So if you do not know the formal letter format, I would advise you to watch that video before you write a cover letter. Do not repeat information provided in your resume. You have to remember that cover letter is not a duplication of your resume. It is only a letter to convince the person to get hire you. But it should not be begging and pleading sort of a letter. You should only mention what are your strengths that you can contribute to the company, right? So don't provide the exact same information that you have provided in your resume about how many marks you scored and where all you worked and all that. Just give additional information if you have any. Then keep it short and to the point. Again, very, very important. Write it in a concise way. Mention what post or course you are applying for. Very important, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't know what post you are applying for. Explain why you are interested in the job, course, and the company and institution. Yes, your interest in the position as well as the organization should be very evident. You should know the history of that organization, right? Draw attention to your suitability for the post. Draw attention meaning highlight, not highlight as in use a highlighter, but through the use of words, you try to highlight the qualities that you have or why you are the most suitable person for to be hired for that particular post. Lay the groundwork for further contact. So you create a good relationship through the use of that letter with the person who is supposed to be hiring you, so that they may want to contact you. They should feel like calling you for an interview at least, if not giving you the job, right? So this is laying the groundwork, that is making a foundation to build upon, so that you will have a good working relationship with that particular person, right? So this is about the cover letter. Now let us see what are the contents of a cover letter. First of all is introduction. The lead sentence should state the position you are pursuing. Also mention how you learned about the opportunity or the company. Very very important. Introduction, you will say I am so and so person and I am looking for such and such position in your company. How did you know? How did you know that there was a vacancy in that company? So you may have learned it from a friend or through LinkedIn or through an advertisement in a newspaper or any such mediums. So you need to mention from whom did you know about the vacancy in that particular organization. Next point is the body. Body meaning the next paragraph. Highlight the most relevant skills and experience from your resume. This section of your cover letter should contain a detailed description of what you can offer to the company. Explain why you are interested in the job and convey your awareness of what the company does to show that you have done careful research already. Like I said, whatever are your most useful skills for that particular job, you need to highlight that in your cover letter. You should give a proper description. You should explain in detail what you can offer to the company, what all things that inputs you can give to the company to make it a better working experience for the company as well as you as an individual. And you explain why you are interested in the job. Convey your awareness of what the company does. So you should know how the company functions, what business the company is into, what are the values of that company, what is the mission of that company. These are the things that you should already know prior to applying in that particular company. You need to research properly, and the words that you use even in your interview are very very important. Don't use terms like I googled xyz. Just say I did some secondary research, right? So the words that you use are also very very important. The next point being conclusion. The third paragraph. Conclude your application letter by thanking the employer for considering you for the position. Include information on how you will follow up. When can an interview or face-to-face interaction be fixed? So, first of all, thank that person for having gone through your letter and having thought about you for calling you for that particular position. Include information on how you will follow up. Include information on how you will follow up, meaning when you will call again to ask about whether they are going to call you for the interview or not. And when can an interview or face-to-face interaction be fixed? So you just mention that please let me know when can an interview or a face-to-face conversation be fixed, right? So this is your conclusion of a cover letter. The way you conclude your letters is very very important. You should let that person feel free to contact you rather than being compelled to call you. Getting the difference? Feeling free to call you, that if he feels that you are the correct person he should be calling, he will call you. And compelled to call me, I will be waiting for your call or something like that. If you write, that person feels compelled to give you a call, right? So there's a difference between being compelled to and feeling free to. So please feel free to contact me on my whatever number or email ID. That makes that person feel a little bit relaxed and eased out as compared to I will be waiting for your call at the earliest. If you mention like that, then it doesn't portray a very good impression also. And please remember to be neutral in your letter. Neutral as in about religious views, political views, and all that, because you do not know that person or that organization in that much depth. Whatever secondary research you do, that is all you know, right? So, maintaining that is also very, very important. Writing the complimentary clause, thanking you, yours faithfully, yours sincerely, that is also a very, very important aspect of conclusion. There are a few model cover letters in your module. To my students in my notes, I have also given additional cover letters. So you please go through that. And if you have any issues, feel free to contact me. We will get it sorted out. So that completes your resume writing chapter, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.